Today we're harvesting potatoes. So it's been a long time coming. We are very excited for this harvest, right, Toby? Yep. So we brought out a 20 or 25 liters bucket and we are hoping to fill it even halfway. And like I was saying, we are going to take all the two beds out in preparation for winter planting. I'm probably going to plant onions intercrop with carrots in here. And in the cinder blocks, I am going to plant some garlic that I'm going to plant in the holes of the cinder blocks. I am not going to waste a full bed on garlic this year. Nope, don't do that. We already got our first potato. This is Mrs. First Potato, accompanied by two other small ones. We are hoping to get these beautiful sized ones. But if we get the baby ones, they are going to be perfectly delicious and they are very good for roasting. So we are not gonna complain. Hey, Missy.
Hello.
Hi. You want to kiss mommy? Hey!
Hello.
Bring it back. This one had a lot of fruits, but we didn't get a single because they keep being damaged. So I don't see the use of leaving it in here. So, and when you are harvesting potatoes, you actually want to be very careful not to pierce them. So that's why I was not really a fan of, just put them in. I was not really a fan of digging with a fork because of that. And you have to be quite careful not to wash your potatoes, especially if they are for long term. Put them in gently, don't throw. Yeah? So you have to try by all means not to ruin. Okay. You have to try by all means not to ruin the skin. We particularly haven't watered these potatoes for around 2 weeks now, just so that the skin can firm up nicely. And so far, we are getting good sized potatoes, which I'm not complaining, firm. I am not complaining. And if we leave, oh, okay, there's more here. If we leave any of those in next year, or when we plant our onions, they will become volunteers. Even a single one. Yes, sir. What is it, my love? Are you okay? Oh, you don't see any potatoes? Here, look this. That one. Go take it. Okay, put it in the bucket. Oh, there's a plant here, and I'm assuming this green one. Oh, this is the ones we planted late. Oh, here you go. We have some from one plant, and all of them are rotten and squishy. I am thinking maybe that's the one that died off really fast, but even though they're not supposed to be squishy, I don't know what happened there. I'm so thankful that I have gloves because, yeah.
Gardening is such a joy with my kids around. So, like everything that we do at home and on the farm, we took a teamwork approach. In here, I was digging while the kids were picking up the potatoes, which was such a joy for them. Twapi was very helpful, while Magano was just there, being in and out, enjoying it when she feels like, and when she feels like she's tired, she disappeared for. Like they say, teamwork makes a dream work. Indeed, it made a dream work. Soon enough, we were done and we were ready to move on to bed 2. But while we are busy with bed one, I didn't want you to just watch us harvest, so I wanted to go through what we did for this year, from preparing our seeds to the harvest. We bought our potato seed from the shop. I actually bought baby potatoes that we then cheated out and planted. The process of cheating is when you put your potatoes maybe on your window sill, or you just expose them to light so that you may encourage growth. And when they have grown shoots, that is then called chitting, and they are ready for planting. Some people will discourage buying seed potatoes from the shops, but here in Namibia, getting seed potato is particularly difficult. They are also expensive. So, since I have started gardening, I have used potatoes from the shops, and they have done just well for me. So, don't be discouraged when you cannot find seed potatoes. Let's continue with the seed preparation. So when our seeds had chitted and had at least 2 or 3 good eyes, we then were ready for planting. Planting is simple really. You place your potato in a hole and you cover it up. Just make sure that when you're covering it up, the eye that is on your seed potato is looking up so that it may encourage germination. We planted our baby potatoes whole, but that was simply because they were really tiny. If you have bigger potato seeds, please make sure that you cut them up to have more seeds, and especially if you are short on seeds. They usually say the bigger the potato you plant, the bigger your potato tubers that you're going to harvest. But I don't know whether I agree with this, because I have gotten quite good sizes tubers from the baby potatoes I planted. So do not shy away from cutting up one potato into 2 or 3 seeds if you are short on seeds. Just make sure that when you are cutting up your potatoes, each of your seed have an eye that will grow for you, or at least 2 eyes. And also make sure to give it a chance to scab over, because if you put it directly into the soil, it might rot out. Soil preparation and fertility. Potatoes grow in a wide range of soils, but they are best suited for sandy soils. Generally, they want a well-draining soil so that they can do well. This is why you see that I planted my potatoes in the 2 raised beds where I have added compost. I added mushroom compost to mine because my soil is very clayish and it doesn't drain well. They also enjoy a well-fertile soil. So if you have poor quality soil, or the soil that you are planting in is the same soil that you have used year after year, you might want to amend your soil and add manure. You may also add fertilizer from the shops. I actually used goat manure in my soil, so I felt like that was enough for me. But let me encourage you to add fertilizer to your soil, because you never know. I have had some quite small tubers, although I have a good number of big ones. And maybe this was attributed to the fact that I didn't fertilize much, since my soil already had goat manure. Potatoes are easy plants to grow and look after. In my case, I planted my seeds, covered them up, watered, and forgot about them. Not literally, but I kind of did, because they did not give me any problem, no diseases whatsoever. But I live in a very hot and dry climate, and that might be why my potatoes didn't get any diseases. If you stay in a climate that is very rainy and is very moist, you might suffer some fungal issues. So you might want to look up how to care for that. I particularly cannot tell you how to do that because I'm not an expert at growing potatoes. And like I said, my potatoes didn't give me any problem attributed to the climate that I live in. A simple tip to avoid diseases in your potatoes, especially for those who live in other climates, you might want to buy your seed potatoes because they are certified to have no diseases. If you are growing your own seeds from home, you might also want to rotate your crops just so that where you planted your potatoes last year is not where you are planting this year. That way you are avoiding diseases that are common to potatoes. Also avoid growing your potatoes in areas where you previously grew your peppers, your tomatoes, eggplants, radishes or beetroots because those may share common diseases and pests that will then attack your new potatoes that you are going to grow there. Water requirements. Potatoes are very sensitive to soil moisture, but they do very well with consistent soil moisture level. This being said, they do much better with minimal rain, but when your soil is very sandy, you might want to water a bit more, unlike one who is having loam soil. What potatoes don't want is prolonged dry spells followed by a lot of water at once, because this does not only irritate and stress out your plant, but it leads to tubers that are of irregular shapes. Sometimes it leads to knobs, growth cracks, and sometimes it can even result in internal browning, and you don't want that because that means especially for internal browning, you won't be eating your potatoes anymore, and that means your harvest will be wasted.
So bed one is done. We are a quarter, I think, full. Some of them are very good sized. The other ones are teeny tiny. The good thing is that they are very clean, and I think that's also attributed to the fact that we did not water, like I said, for the past 2 weeks. So the soil is just going off. It's not muddy and yucky. Um, this is one of our seed potatoes that we planted. You can see it's growing an eye again.
We delayed harvesting bed number 2 as it was still a bit too warm when we were done with harvesting bed number 1. Bed number 1 actually receives shade in the evening. It's shaded by the house, but bed number 2 receives sunshine all day long. So it was a bit too warm and we had to wait until it was a bit too cool. We started by removing the mulch which we had put there because we are going to be reusing that mulch. How do you tell your potatoes are ready for harvesting? Well, I rely on seeing my plants dying back even when I'm watering consistently to tell me that my plants are done, they're matured, and they are ready for harvesting. Another way is to harvest approximately 2 to 3 weeks after your plants have produced flowers and those flowers had fallen off. Generally, when you see your plant having flowers, it means that it is producing tubers underground, and those tubers are then ready in 2 to 3 weeks after your flowers fell off. It is encouraged that for 2 full weeks you do not water your plants before harvesting. This allows you to harvest in a soil that is loose and is falling apart, unlike harvesting in a very wet soil that is muddy and is sticking to your potatoes. You do not really want that. Not only is it hard to work with, but it might also mean you will have to wash your potatoes, and we do not encourage washing potatoes after harvesting because this leads to them sprouting up much earlier than they would have, and then that means you wouldn't be able to store your potatoes for a long time. And when you are harvesting, you may also want to avoid piercing your potatoes because piercing them also means that they will have wounds that will probably get attacked by bacteria and diseases, and they will rot. And this also means that they will be destroyed and they wouldn't store very well. Storage. After harvesting, you might want to cure your potatoes 2 to 3 weeks after harvesting. This is by storing them in a place that is dark with a relatively good humidity to heal off the bruised and damaged areas. But this also discourages the shoots from growing and encourage your potatoes to store for a longer time. Curing your potatoes also is said to convert all the starches into sugars, so your potatoes will apparently relatively taste better than they did if you ate them straight from harvesting. It is also encouraged that you only store potatoes that are healthy, that are reasonably free from soil. Having said that, do not wash your potatoes. When you wash your potatoes, not only do you disturb the skin that might peel off because they are relatively fresh from the soil, but you also encourage them to sprout early. Please note that I am not an expert at growing potatoes in any way. In fact, I am just sharing tips that have helped me grow my potatoes in my backyard easier. You might also not want to apply this to large scale farming because it might not work. Because, like I said, at large scale, if you are producing for commercial purposes, you might have a professional come in and advise you and not rely on backyard farmers' advice.
Alright, guys, it's quite late and dark outside. Finally, we got done with our potato harvest. I was saying we will be good with 3/4, at least full. We actually ended up getting a 20 liters full. Yes, it's potatoes. And we got some very good ones. We got these. This is a big tater. Okay. And then there are some of this small ones. You see, I'm using this for scale. So there are some of those that are very small and these big ones. Yes, so we are going to keep our taters in a cool place in a bag that is open. We are having a 10 kgs that we bought, a 10 kgs paper bag that is empty. So we are going to try and put all our potatoes in there. We are then going to keep them in a cool, dry place. There are potatoes such as this. This was somehow, I think I scratched it and the skin came off. At this moment, these potatoes are very fragile and you can bruise them easily, especially if you have long nails. And this is what happened. We are having some of those that we pierced. I cannot see one now here. We have this one that is somewhat greenish because it was exposed to the sun. I actually saw this some time ago and then it was much greener than this. We added some soil on top. It looks better now, but it's still a bit green. The reason why you would be concerned with green potatoes is that they contain a toxin that gives you tummy ache, so you don't really want to eat those. There's a mosquito. Yep, babies. So yeah, guys, we are happy with our potato harvest. Gabi, are you happy? Show the camera. Potato. Potato. Let's sing Super Potato. You want to sing Super Potato? Yeah. Take. Okay. Oh. Okay. Another one here. Okay. Okay. Yes.